Well, hello, everyone.
Hello and happy Sunday.
It is a happy Sunday. You're looking a little. There we go. You're clearing up there. Hey, y'all. Like I said, real and raw, right? Right. All right. Welcome to Faith, Love, and Coffee, everybody. Today, wow, today's subject is, I'm sure, near and dear to a lot of us. It's about body image, self image, and health anxiety. So today we're going to be
Right.
pulling this one like it's going to be like from the seat of our pants. Um, yeah, Jimmy, you look a little warbled over there.
Am I at least clear? Can you see? I'm not
No, I
like,
mean you can see your outline and stuff, but you're really not clear. So,
what do
so
you,
like kind of, I think it's your camera. I don't know what's going on with your camera.
I can see
So
all you,
it's almost like what you did like I did last week when mine went all whacked out at the end of the episode. But
but mine is, I can see everything so clearly.
oh wow, maybe it's just me.
Okay,
Oh
hold on.
no.
Let me see something.
So
Hold on.
alrighty. Oh, that's just me. Hi everybody again.
Did that help any?
No,
Okay,
you
hold on.
almost look like a pixel.
Aye. Okay, hold on. I'm going to stop Cam, but keep talking.
All right. So while she's over there trying to figure things out, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Again, welcome. Thank you for coming on with us today. Thank you for being here today. If you're on with us, again, today is about body image, self image, and health anxiety. But if you want to recap, last week we did relationship and social anxiety, people pleasing, and boundaries, which we took a whole hour for that. I mean, it was a big episode.
Yeah.
So we just had a lot to talk about, and honestly, things that just came off on the top of our heads because there's was so much to unpack in that one. Today may be the same way. I mean, but we'll try to keep it short or shorter. But this topic, wow, this is a topic that I've been struggling with for practically all my life. So, um,
Do I still look
but
crazy?
a little bit, but you're getting better.
Okay.
It's like it's not clear on my end now. If it's clear on your end, I'm not sure how our viewers are looking at this or how
I
they're seeing it.
know.
Anybody, if you're out there, I can't see the comments right now, but if you do, if she's a little bit off,
Blurry
please
or
comment,
whatever.
to you, because I know she's a
Yeah.
little blurry to me, but you said clear to
I
yourself.
see. And you are
Oh,
clear
okay.
as, yeah, loveliness.
Okay. That is crazy. Maybe it's just me on my end.
Okay.
So
Maybe my image is trying to be all weird today.
let me see if I remove myself and come back in. So Jamie's going to take over for just a second.
Oh, okay. So the last thing I heard you say is that this topic is like close to you and you've struggled with it for quite some time. The body image, self image.
Mm-hmm.
The health anxiety for me, I think, is more for like what I struggle with because of our family history and things like that.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but it does, I mean, again, with the media and everything, the way it is, it's kind of like body image, self image, what we see is not how we all look, and some of us look at others and we're like, man, if I could look like that. But some of those people work so hard to do that. But anyway, off on another, like,
But
yeah,
also that's what I mean, we'll get into the topic, why the topic matters. And
yes,
again, you guys, just like we've always said before, we go off an outline for you guys. I mean, if there's anything y'all need to interject, please post a comment or, just let us know one way or the other. I mean, these,
yeah,
Jamie and I sit down and we talk about what our next episodes are going to be and everything. But, you know, that can be changed. You know, anything you guys want to hear or anything else like that. We just thought the series would be very good because it's about anxiety. And of course, anxiety, it covers a multitude of things. So we just broke it down to, you know, 4 episodes that we thought that most of you would like to hear about. I did get a few ideas from a couple of friends of mine. And so that's why, you know, we're incorporating, you know, these specific topics. So, so why does this topic matter? It matters because many of us women, we struggle with how we view our bodies and how our insecurities affect our confidence, our relationships, and our faith. Because it makes us doubt. You know, we're created in God's image, and we're very unique. Every single one of us. There's not one single one of us who are the same. Even twins. You know, there is something about them that is different, that sets them apart. Right. So, and then from the time they're born, their parents are trying to figure out, well, how do we distinguish who's who?
How are they different? Yes.
Yeah, exactly. But we are made, you know, uniquely. So remember that. Also, health anxiety stems from a fear of loss of control of the unknown. We talked a little bit about that last week. Right? The fear of the unknown. And even before, when we're talking about our children, the fear of the unknown.
Yes.
And it makes it look like every symptom we feel is a looming threat. So, and not every symptom, you know, is fatal.
Right.
Or that, you know,
it literally could just be
hospital.
Yeah, it really could just be a headache and not like a tumor in your brain.
Exactly. So these are just some things that we're going to talk about today, and talk about healing and self-compassion, because, you know, we may have compassion for others and we do a lot for others, but we really don't do that for ourselves. And that's very important for us to do. So, okay, so let's get into the body image and self-image, and the common body image struggles. Now, I say that I have had this struggle a lot my entire life, and I haven't had a smaller body. You know, I have a family where I don't know how to say this. I mean, I don't know if there's such a thing as big bone, but, you know, you keep on hearing things like, oh, she was just big boned, and she, you know, her body is a little bit different, or, you know, people just making assumptions, or, you know, not really delving into a health perspective, you know.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I went into the armed services when I was between my junior and senior year of high school. So I was 17 years old going into this place. I weighed 118 pounds at that time, which was the maximum you could weigh for your age and your height. Okay. All of 5'1" and 118 was when I came back out of it 2 months later, because we were on an accelerated program, I was 105. So I lost 13 pounds, and I was perfect. So, and that was the image that I was expected to maintain. Well, things didn't turn out that way. You know, life happens. I actually met a man who physically and verbally abused me for 4.5 years, something like that. And that was a struggle, because everything he said, when I say that words have meaning, and when you speak words out into the universe, they impact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So this person kept telling me I was fat, I was ugly, and here I am, itty bitty, an itty bitty person say you're
Mhm.
fat, you're ugly. Anytime I look at the side of your face, that kind of thing. Or why can't you be like so and so? Or why can't you be like my ex wife? I didn't even know who that person was. Okay.
Right.
And or if I tell you to gain 10 pounds, you'll gain 10 pounds. If I tell you to lose 15 pounds, you'll lose 15 pounds. I didn't know how to navigate that, and I thought this person was, you know, he was my lover at the time,
Yeah.
but his words fell very strongly, I guess.
Mhm.
And so where I started believing it.
Right.
Okay, I started believing everything he said.
Yeah.
So I ate more. I didn't eat the right things. I'm like, well, if fat is what I am, then fat is what you're going to get. But let me tell you, we always think that we can change somebody. We can't. But the body image that I created for myself was not a good one. Okay. So when I ended that relationship, I actually went to go work for the U.S. Postal Service. And let me tell you, running around that facility, yeah, I lost some weight. I lost 60 pounds while I was at the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah.
And I got to have, like I walked like there was nobody's business. Like I think
Oh yeah.
Working there, going back and forth and everywhere in that facility,
Yeah.
listen, I got more than any kind of steps that are expected to take. So
Yes.
anyway, but I lost some weight, which is great, and all that kind of stuff. I met my husband now, and we have been married, again for almost 25 years. And my weight has fluctuated, and I've gone up and I've gone down, and I've gone this and I've got that. I went through a triple bypass surgery, and then even though I had a triple bypass surgery, stress, you guys, is it is not a good thing. And it like I thought I would have self-control, and I really don't. I really don't. I don't eat the right things all the time. I don't exercise. I mean, I just sit there and let everything of my job just absorb into me, and I really shouldn't. And that's one thing I'm actually working on. So, like I had gotten a rower at the beginning of the year, and I've been on that just a couple of times. I haven't really like been on it like every day or every other day like I had intended to be, because once I get out of work and I'm mentally spent, it is almost impossible for me to get anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then that's where that thing comes in. You have your family who looks at you and, gosh, you'd be so pretty if you would just, you're so pretty, but if you would just lose the weight. Don't we hear that? Don't we hear
Yes.
that?
Yeah. Or I
Yes.
hear like,
It is such a,
"Oh, she has such a pretty face," but then the
mm-hmm.
rest of the "but," comes, and I'm like,
Yes.
"Well, but she's still just pretty, like everything." You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah,
I've heard that term big
exactly.
boned all the time too, and I'm like, I've always just
Mm-hmm.
said like a little thicker, I don't really say fat. I don't like that word. Um,
No.
because nobody when you go to the doctor, they don't say you're fat. They say you could stand to lose a few pounds or you're overweight, or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. But like some of these
Mm-hmm.
terms people use now, like so harsh. Like
And they
that's
are.
not helpful. It's not helpful.
Mm-mm. But sometimes when you do look at the magazines and you look at, some of the really pretty, now I commend some of the marketing people who've been out there, and they're now gearing towards like the plus size women, just like myself,
Same.
and
Same. I
it's,
love it.
I love it that they are actually getting real women to go on camera
Mhm.
and to, model some clothes that,
Mhm.
it's your body type. And
Oh
I
yeah.
think that now that they're incorporating all the body types in there, I think that's a great thing.
Mhm.
Now, for me, and I only talk about myself, and I know some people this may resonate with you or not. For me, I do need to lose the weight. And I say that because I've had a triple bypass surgery. Yes, most of it was, how do you say, hereditary.
Mhm.
But listen, it didn't take just a couple of years for me to get there. It took a lifetime for me to
Yeah.
get there to where I had to have a triple bypass surgery. And
Yeah.
I encourage anybody who is in that state, that just try to look at what you're doing now. I have gone through the gamut of so many different diets and everything else. And of course, a heart healthy diet is the Mediterranean diet, that you can actually incorporate that as a lifestyle.
Mhm.
But I try to do that and more of the high protein, low carb, you know, stuff. And that's been actually working. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
But the treatment, and I remember in school too, before I went into the military, I had, you know, I was a bigger kid, and I would get made fun of and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But of course, that all changed after the military. Um, but, you know, what kind of, and this is like, I'm a bigger person. Jamie, have you ever had any kind of like body image or like issues that you would like to talk about? That because you're on my sister's always been little, like she's always been on the smaller side,
Mhm.
and that, like even her face, like, when she turned 30, I swear she looked 12. um
Yeah. Right. Not
but
anymore. But yeah, no.
yeah.
And see, I feel like I'm on the like opposite end of the
Uh-huh.
spectrum. When I was younger, I always was like, "Man, I'm so skinny. I'm so skinny. I just want to gain weight. I just want to gain weight." Um, and then here, bam, 40 hits, and hello, weight. There you have it. Um, it's harder to get off. You know what I
It
mean?
is.
It's harder to get off after a certain point, and you have to work harder, I think. And I don't know. I look at some women and I'm like, "Man, you look so good," but I know they just work so hard to do that, and I haven't I'm not there yet. I'm just kinda like, "Eh, I'm alright," you know? Um, but I also I feel like I, took on that body image perspective, like, "Man, she looks like this. I wish I could look like that," and that's the only thing you think you should look like, and that's not the case, you know what I mean? Like, that person has different attributes than you do, different genetics,
Hmm.
but at the end of the day, my biggest fear with all that is the hereditary parts of what you just mentioned, because you have it on both sides, right?
Yes, I do. Hmm.
Um, and then recently I found out that my dad's dad passed away from heart something or other,
Right.
um,
Hmm.
but not to the degree of mom's family and then your dad's family. So it's just more of
Yeah.
like, I just hope I can eat the right things, do the right things to just avoid some of the stuff that's happened to you guys, you know,
Right.
because that sucks. It's so scary when that's happened to y'all.
And it does. And at the same time, it's like still so surreal. You like it's happening, but you don't.
Absolutely.
It's like, is it really happening?
Mhm. Mhm.
That, and it's, like for me, I had to wait for my surgery. I had to wait like a whole week for
Mhm.
my surgery. That's how I spent my New Year's
Yeah,
in the hospital waiting
I
for my
remember.
surgery.
Mhm.
And it
Yeah.
was, I was like, oh my, I can't even spend time with my family. I can't, do anything. It was
Yeah.
right in the middle of COVID. I mean, it was crazy.
Mhm.
So, and then you were like, I was in fear of
Mess.
like, oh my God, what if some of that from on the other side of the hospital gets to this side of the hospital where I'm at? Because, I was in the same hospital with some COVID patients. And of course, my immune system at that point in time was compromised because of the triple bypass, because I needed to have a triple bypass. So,
Yes.
but thankfully, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. Um, but those were some of the scary things. Now, the common body image struggles that we have is constant comparison to others. Just like I had said before, like the magazines, like when we were
Social media.
younger. Yeah, but when we were younger, the magazines had nothing but, you know, thinner women. They were
Mhm.
beautiful. Don't get me wrong, because the women are beautiful. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Um, and they were, but just like size twos and size fours and size sixes. And I'm like, what is that? You know? have to do
Mhm.
with me.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I mean, those, this is a big one, like feeling not enough based on your weight, shape, skin, hair, age, or visible flaws.
Mhm.
I cannot tell you, like we, or internalizing unrealistic beauty standards. When
Or
I
and
got
this other
a,
one, tying self-worth to appearance. I had to say that because, like, all this comes all
mhm,
into one big, like, we say, "Oh, I'm not
mhm,
good enough. I'm not this. I'm not because I don't look this
mhm,
way," or whatever.
yeah.
We're all, I think,
So
guilty.
yeah, and I know this one will hit some of y'all too. Like, I got season passes to Margaritaville here, close to where I live, in Atlanta, and it's at the lake, and it has slides, and it's got a one of those wave pools and all that kind of stuff, and I was so uncomfortable with how I looked that I went and got a bathing suit that looked more like a dress, okay, to cover whatever needed to get covered, because I didn't want all my dimples showing or all this or that. And
Yeah.
oh my God, how are people going to look at me? And, how are they going to think? And what are they going to think? You guys, seriously, nobody cares. They're
No.
worried about what you're thinking about them, or they're just having too much of a good time. And this
To
is why we
even be
belly up
bothered.
with a drink or two on.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Sometimes that's how you have to start it.
Yes,
Just a
because
little
you're gonna go sit
something.
underneath the cabana and you're good.
Yeah. I
Just
mean,
sit
that's like
there.
when we go on cruises, everybody's wearing summer wear because when you
Yeah.
go to these places, most of the time it's warm. Um, but if not, there's still women wearing stuff. And yeah, you see some of everything and you're just like, hey, you do you. Like, enjoy
Mhm.
whatever's good, um, I say that, but then at the same time, I bought a bathing suit that doesn't look like a dress, but I'm covered from, like, here to the end, and I wear a cover, and the cover is black, the bathing suit is black, everything to try to skinny myself or slim and I'm like, "What are you doing? Nobody even cares." Like, seriously.
And
Um,
mine's like blue and pink and purple.
right. I mean, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're sitting here wasting so much time worried about that." Um, so I mean, it's man, body image is it's rough.
Yeah,
It's
but it
rough.
also, I mean, this is like one of those things that people withdraw from society
Yes.
because they don't feel comfortable with themselves, or they'll believe lies like, "I'll be happier when I lose weight."
Mhm.
Y'all, listen.
Mhm.
We could be like, "Oh, well, that's been in my closet. Like that nice dress has been in my closet for, this long because I know I'm going to fit in it." Great. That's wonderful. That's a goal, right? That you can have. But in the meantime, get something that, looks good on your body.
Mhm.
That,
Yeah.
that you still can go out and be part of society. You
Mhm.
know, you never know what kind of impact you're going to make on somebody just from being out there. Like
Yeah.
somebody can look at you, go, "Oh my gosh, I can look that good too."
Mhm. Mhm. Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, like,
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to having this dress that I bought last year, y'all, last year. And I took it to my sister's house and I never wore it. And it is a beautiful, like a pinstripe dress, blue, summery, it comes up here. And I have been looking for like a little shawl or cover up for the longest time that was in stark white. And I finally found it. So
Yeah, that's
you
gonna
can
be
just
cute.
about bet, yeah, you can just about bet the next time that my husband and I decide we want to go on a date, that is going to be on my butt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
But it's gonna be
It may
cute.
be a 1X, but it looks really cute.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will, you know, like today I put on no makeup. Like my hair is all pulled back. Like normally I have my hair, down,
Down.
and I
Mhm.
have a little bit of mascara, lipstick, or something. But today, this is me, just me. No makeup, no nothing, no,
Me too.
this is
Hey,
me.
one eye open tired me.
I know. She just got in from a trip that she took from South Texas to North Texas, and she was on the road for about 5.5, 6 hours.
Yeah.
And got woke up and left at 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
And then she's here on time with us, guys. So we
I'm like,
really
this is
appreciate
me.
that.
This is me.
I know. Oh my gosh. Okay. So,
but I like what you said
thing,
earlier at the very beginning. I don't know if you're still talking about the like deeper impact of the self-image, but all of this is rooted in what you said from the beginning, that we are made in God's image.
We are.
You have to keep telling yourself that I look this way for a reason. I am this way for a reason. And that's because God created us this way.
And what I'm trying to teach my daughter now, because, I have a 14-year-old girl, is that beauty starts on the inside. In this, being in middle school and high school is brutal. Okay. Because kids don't have a filter. They don't. And any of you parents out there who say, oh no, not my kid, guess again. Okay. So it is your kid, but let me tell you, I try to tell her, I said, beauty comes from, she goes, but what about us? She goes, I'm so pretty on the outside. I'm like, yes, but if you have the wrong things coming out of your mouth, you're not pretty anymore. And I said, you will not be that way toward your peers. And it doesn't matter how beautiful you are. If you're not beautiful on the inside and it doesn't come out on the outside, you're not going to have a lot of friends.
Yeah. Because it reflects.
It really does. Yeah. It does. And then you think as a parent, what did I do or what did I not do for them to be this way? You want your kids to be kind, and you want them to be the light to other kids who may be struggling, because there are many kids out there who don't have a home, or who, don't even know where their next meal is coming from. And you need to be kind to everybody, know, because, and talk about body image there too. There's some kids who can't afford more than 2 or 3 pairs of whatever they got. And they're having to wash them and continue to wear them throughout their school year. These are the things that we have to, these are some of the things that we have to let our kids know. Hey, be gracious, be kind, see if there's anything they need, anything we can help with, that kind of thing. No, it doesn't happen all the time. No, it's not like, oh my God, my kid's perfect. She's not, nor am I. Because I know that sometimes the very first time we meet somebody, there may be a fleeting moment when you're like, but then you catch yourself. You're like, oh, well, this is what I thought about this person. Wait a minute. You have no idea what they're going through. Yeah. You do not live in their shoes or their place or whatever. And you haven't walked the walk that they've walked. So until you can do that, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
That's the best way I can say it, is if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. If you don't have anything nice to think of what you may be if you were in that situation, or, you never know. If somebody comes across to you rude, it's not you that they're actually being mad at, unless you did something directly to them. If they just come off to you like, oh, you're being mad, it's something within themselves or something that's happening, elsewhere. Okay, so just keep that in mind too. But getting to that, like you said, we are made in God's image, and yes, beauty is internal. And this was a big one too, using appearance to measure the value of your success. Again, if from the inside out.
Unless you're a stripper. Strippers are the only ones who need to measure their value or success by their appearance, because they get paid if they're cute and whatever. But
this is true too.
Yeah, but I know, like,
Yes.
when you look at, and that was just, like, being a joke, but, like, if you look at, like, CEOs of
Yeah.
companies, right, or, higher management, and you see, women, and you meet them for the first time, and you're like, "Oh, wow, she's really put together, and gosh, just man," then you might see her another time, when she might be going through something, tired or whatever, and you're like, "Dang, is that the same you know what I mean? Like, 2 totally
Yeah.
different, people, but I'm hoping that people wouldn't, you know
Judge.
yeah, because good
That's the
gracious.
only word you're going to use is judge. Because
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that's
We
it.
go
That
through
is
so
it.
much stuff.
Yeah. And also what goes on with that, with the self image, is you may think you have a lack of, well, like I said before, confidence, purpose, but let's talk about intimacy here. Okay.
Mhm,
Now, I know that my body's not the greatest, you know, but that doesn't mean you don't have needs,
mhm,
wants. Talk to your partner. They'll understand, whether you do or not. If
yeah,
you're in a loving relationship, then they should understand.
mhm,
Either you don't because I don't feel really comfortable with my body, or I do. Can we try? Just be open and honest, you guys. Don't
yeah,
ever feel like the answer is going to be no, because it may not be. Because
yeah,
they may be like going, I want to, but I don't know how to address it. I don't know
mhm,
how to say, and
yeah,
then the next thing you know, you're like, okay, that was the best ever. you
exactly,
know,
yeah, yeah,
so,
because that
don't be
communication
afraid.
is key.
Exactly. The key,
Mhm,
key,
it is.
indeed. All right. So, and we just brought up, just a few things about faith based reframing. Like we just said, again, we're all unique. We're made in God's image. And your value is not, does it say your value is not found in how you look, but whose you are,
Mhm,
like whose you are. In other words, you're his.
yeah,
You're not
yeah,
anybody else's, not your husband's, not your boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. You're his, and don't forget that, because that's powerful. Okay. No one, and gosh, I wish I had learned this a long time ago. No one can take your worth. No one can take who you are and everything you've built to become who you are.
yeah,
No one can take that away. No
mm,
one. You're his, and this is who he has meant you to be.
yeah,
Okay. If you're in a place where you're good and you're striving, that is because you were listening and
mm,
you made those strides to become who you are, because that is where he needs you to be.
yes,
So, and I think I saw this somewhere where there was a saying that says, you are exactly where you need to be right now.
mhm, yes,
So,
agree.
mhm. And that you may look at yourself like, and look at your surroundings and you're like, how is that possible? Because there's something greater coming.
Mhm,
And that you may struggle now, but I promise you there will be a payoff at the end, you guys. Just be faithful, 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 faithful.
and patient.
And patient, yes, and that comes with your body too. And if you start taking, because listen, if I would have started doing things a year ago, yeah, things probably would be a little bit different right now. But
Yeah,
you're like, oh, all these years and I've been missing out. So now is the time. Like, I don't know what it is about 2025, y'all. Y'all let us know if y'all felt something different, if y'all are doing something that you're like, all of a sudden it was just an awakening and like,
mhm,
let's do it.
yeah,
So now it's like the losing the weight, the getting the business up and running, and it just seems like it's part of what God intended, you know?
mhm,
It's just what God intended.
yeah.
Um
I think people
so
joke I think people joke every year, they're like, "This year I'm gonna get my life together. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that." But I really think 2025, more people really are getting their lives together
I
in
really do think so.
in a
And
lot of those ways.
yeah, I've heard some
Yeah.
people say, "Oh man, I've wanted to like always do a podcast too. Can you tell me how you're doing it? And, and I would tell them, how I created it and what we're doing. And then of course, behind the scenes, like when Jamie and I meet and we're talking about what our next episodes are, or we're getting with friends and family saying, hey, what do you want to hear? What are the things you're struggling with? How can we help? What can we do research on? So the next time we come on, hey, we'll be ready for this. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So, but yeah, I mean, other people like, getting businesses off the ground, and they're like, man, I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I don't know why I didn't do it, and yeah, we may be like, we're kicking ourselves in the, rear end for not getting started earlier. But again, God's timing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what it is about 2025, but he's like you get a car and you get a car.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So it is just that kind of vibe, I guess.
Yeah, it is.
I
agree. And I'm loving it.
Me too.
I'm loving it.
Can we say me too?
Yes.
Like I'm so excited. Like this, I mean, I know we may not have a lot of people on right now, you guys, and we may not have a lot of followers, and we may not have the audience we want right now, but I have faith that this is going to grow into something big.
Yes.
And again, even if we just reach one person, that'll be a blessing.
Yeah.
So, but yes, I feel like this is going to grow. All right, let's get to segment 2. What we got on the table?
Oh, this is about health anxiety. And this is the one that I think like really, really should be the main focus of like your image, like how you're like see yourself, not like we need to stop looking at what other people look like and focus on like our own health anxieties and how to make ourselves better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And it doesn't mean losing 50 pounds, because you can lose 50 pounds and still look crazy. It's about doing it the right way and looking the right way.
Being unhealthy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. You can still lose that 50 pounds, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you do to lose those 50 pounds?
Yeah.
I mean, are you having like your protein and your vegetables, or are you thinking just eating one time a day is going to do it? I mean, I know there's something to be said about fasting, which is awesome. I've done that too. And listen, I've lost a few pounds off of that too. Not as much as I wanted to. So, I thought about doing something different. But what are the other things that you're doing? I mean, are you just, and then when you do eat, are you eating candy? Are you thinking, are you eating something that's full of carbs? That's, that's going to make you feel sluggish, all that kind of stuff. What are you putting in your body?
Yeah.
And that is another thing I wanted to say. And I'm not sure if it's in here or not.
I know we've like skipped around a little bit, but
yeah, we have skipped around, but I
think like
I think that's a really good one. I just heard that too. I mean, this is when this is a good one, but the one I was talking about, oh man, I wanted to, well, maybe it'll come up in just a second, but your body's a temple. Your body is a temple. So when we talk about that, when we say that, in just like I had told you before, like I tell my 14-year-old, her body's a temple too, because the subject of sex has come up, and when you talk about your temple, you're talking about everything that's good for your temple. Eventually, hopefully with the right man, with the right, that she'll be able to explore that, but not now. And I'm like, so when kids do this now, and that's a different topic we can, talk about too.
Yeah.
But, this is not something just to give away freely. But when you're talking about your temple, it's also about putting the right things in your temple. And I don't think that we look at it on that level. In other words, what are the good things that we're supposed to put on? At the very beginning, they only had what? They had fruits, they had vegetables, they had meat, they had nuts, berries, that kind of thing. There was no such thing as Alfredo sauce. There was no such thing, as candy or
Mm-mm.
ice cream or any of
No,
that stuff.
no.
Those are the things that we're talking about putting in right now. Of course, they figured out a way to ferment grapes to make wine, which is awesome. But you also see where, there wasn't a lot of gluttony or anything else like that either.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah,
and if you're going to do
exactly.
things, do it in moderation.
Right.
So,
That's exactly
um,
right.
but yeah, but now the health part of it, just like I said, I had a triple bypass surgery. That's a big awakening. And you would think that I would have had a big awakening, but I could go into the reasons why it didn't fall the way it should, but then that would be a deep dive into my household. And that's not, yeah, for the faint of heart. But anyway, medical diagnosis. Now, I had a triple bypass, but like Jamie was saying, I have a double whammy. So, what she means by that is not only do we have heart disease in our families, but we have diabetes. It's a big factor. Big factor. Now, I'm not diabetic, thank God. I do watch my sugar, and so does my mother. But the diabetes normally runs more on my dad's side. Okay,
Yeah.
and normally it's like, how do they say, mother to daughter, father to son. Mostly, sometimes it will not work that way.
Yeah.
But in this case, it was a father to son, son to son. You know, my mother, our of course, we're sisters from different misters. So, and then my mother's family has heart disease from back in her mother and then her father. So,
Yes.
so that was, that's that for that too. So we have to be a little bit more careful.
Mhm.
And I don't know, again, if I spent more time thinking about it as a 56-year-old woman and woulda, coulda, shoulda, that kind of thing. I just know that I have to live for today and tomorrow if God grants it.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Do
And
you
so
find yourself, though, like, wondering if it's going to happen again? Like, you're gonna need something else again,
I
or
wouldn't do
eh
it.
okay. That's what I mean,
And
like, you
I've
have
been
that
I've been asked that
anxiety.
before, like if I would have that, like if I like were to keep up what I'm, like what if I do not take control of what I'm eating or putting on my body or anything else like that, and I continue to get bigger or I continue to put strain on my heart, or would I go through another bypass surgery? And I will tell you right now, I will not. I will not. And it was so painful, but it depends on the people who are supporting you as well,
Yeah. Yeah, I just
or
wonder, like,
lack
just
of.
yeah. I guess for me, the anxiety part I have about health situations is we know so many people who have passed away from all these different things, and
Hmm.
again, it could be she has a rare cancer. Wow, okay. So you start Googling symptoms, like I said at the beginning,
Hmm.
it really could just be a headache. But
Yes.
some of the anxiety I think I feel, and I don't know about others, you're willing to share your, opinions or how you think and feel. But for me, I feel like, man, every time I turn around, I'm like, is it this? Is it that? Like, not a hypochondriac, because like I don't go to the doctor for everything and I don't like, but I just start thinking like, man, if there's a pain in my leg for too long, is it something more than
Mhm.
just, I walked on the treadmill too long or up the stairs the wrong way or whatever. So I think for a lot of people, we just know people who've been through so many health things that you start to like, oh my
Wonder.
gosh, yeah. The next time I go to the doctor, are they going to find something, And some people avoid going to the doctor for that reason.
Indeed. Because our
They do.
mom avoided the doctor for a minute.
Yeah.
But now she's very, like our mom, like if she's on a schedule, like she will go.
Yeah.
She will make every
Yeah.
effort.
And
We have
I
a
think
mom who is actually, we have a mother who is really amazing, and I know you hear that a lot, but we went from having a mom who was really not an existence mom, like she really wasn't there during our high school years
Mhm.
and such. But as we grew older and we've gotten, we have children of our own and everything else, she's exactly the mother that we've always wanted.
Mm.
And then some. But her health to her is so important.
Mhm.
Like she is 70, she's going to be 79
Mhm.
or 80. No,
No,
79.
mhm.
Yeah, she's going to be 79 in July, you guys. This woman walks 3 to 5 miles per day, if she's feeling good,
Yeah. It's
and
5
she will
miles.
not miss.
She's not doing less than 5. I just left a 4-day stint from down there, and it's not less than 5 miles. Trust me.
So yes,
Oh.
she is all about her health. But
Yeah.
I mean, she does things that we're scared about, like she'll get on the ladder and stuff like that. And I'm like, girl, don't do that.
No.
Don't lift anything that's
But
too heavy,
I think some of
but
that
we're not
comes
there.
but no, I think some of that comes from that, anxiety of having to go through another bypass surgery like
Another
she
bypass
did.
surgery.
See,
Hmm.
that's why I'm like, do
Which
you
is
feel
really,
like
yeah, it's almost like parallel, except my mom did everything right. My mom has been eating right. My mom has, like, she's always been on the smaller side. So, like, I'm the extra large. My mom's a medium. My sister's a small. So, but she's like, but my mom used to be a small. She's always been between a small and a medium. Okay. And hey, listen, Grace, she's maybe at a medium right now. So, I mean, I don't know. But
she did tell me, because we talked about this, about bypass and all that good stuff. She told me at the time that that happened to her,
uh-oh, I think we lost my sister. I don't know what happened. And right in the middle of a good story. So as soon as she comes back on, I'll see what that happens if she comes back on. But there she is. I don't know what happened. Hang on just a second. Let me add her. There you are. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what happened. My internet was fine and everything. It just, like, I'm still connected, but real quick story is she would get off work from the post office at 11, get home at 11:30, and she said she would be eating tostadas with beans and cheese, and she wasn't exercising at that time. She would just go to work and sat at a desk.
Oh.
So she did. She started reflecting and kind of like, maybe, because by
Mm-hmm.
then she wasn't at Walmart anymore. She was just at the post office working those
Mm-hmm.
shifts. So she did. She broke it down and was like, I think that's, it kind of had something to do with that. And I said, okay, it made sense, right? So for
But her doctor said that her doctor also told her that it was hereditary as well.
yeah, I
So
think that kind of like
yeah, because
was
I've always
the
seen my mom, like when I was in high school, and Jamie was still a kid, like a kid, because we're 8 years apart.
mhm,
But like I remember my mom like packing like 2 or 3 boiled eggs, cottage cheese, and great high protein, you know, lunch to pack away. And then
yeah,
she would add like maybe peaches or something to go with her cottage cheese, or
mhm,
some sort of fruit.
mhm,
But that was it. And I'm like, man, but she would be at work a long time. And if
yeah,
she's only taking that, then that depriving your body of other things that it needs, can
mm,
also do it. But the
yeah,
stress part, you guys, is a real thing.
it
Stress
is.
will, it raises all kinds of levels of everything in your body, including, your blood pressure, everything. And that will lead to sometimes not eating right, or not eating too much of the wrong thing. And yeah, it takes a few, years for that to develop. But hey, when you're having the wrong foods all the time, that's going to clog it up. Okay. So,
Mhm.
just y'all need to be careful. But if she said that, those late nights will kill you too. Listen,
That is
and
what she
especially
was saying.
eating. Hmm.
Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. Oh my gosh. Um, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the health anxiety portion, and we the internet's great, right?
Yeah. I'm just
Love the
looking at,
internet, but
okay.
y'all googling googling your own symptoms to see what you have when it may not even when not
Yes.
even be what you even think it could. Your symptoms could be
Yeah.
a part of what a multitude of things,
A literal
or it can
headache
mean, yeah, or
can
it can
really
mean
just be,
nothing.
yeah. Yeah. And this is coming later, y'all, I think, in our, conversations, but we're going to talk like perimenopause, menopause, and then those of you blessed to have gone to the other side and like you're through
Whoop,
all
whoop.
that. Yeah. But I have found myself Googling symptoms, and if y'all don't know already, they mimic pregnancy, and ain't that's a whole other. So I had to stop Googling because lots of my symptoms, they mimic so many other things. So I did. I had to
Mhm.
stop. I had to stop. I'm guilty.
Yeah, but then it also says, um, where health anxiety comes from, and you know, like if you are afraid of symptoms, if you are afraid, listen, the best thing for you to do is go to a doctor
Hmm.
and
Agree.
just get it out of the way, to make
Hmm.
you feel comfortable or make you feel like, okay, it
Yeah.
wasn't what I thought it was,
Yeah. For that peace
or
of
it
mind.
may be something that may be something minor that they can fix right away,
Hmm.
and then you're
Yeah.
done, one and done. But the fear also comes from fear of death or suffering. There are people out there who suffer a great deal, especially for those people who have, cancer, epilepsy, um, other debilitating diseases that they
Mm.
can't do anything about, or they've had all the treatments that they possibly can, and now it just has to run its course. Those people, those people we pray for,
Mhm.
because we know that um, that their reality is that, you know. But for those of us who, think, oh my gosh, I think this is wrong with me, or I think that's wrong with me, just go. If you feel that something is wrong with you, for sure, go to the doctor. I
Mhm.
mean, and if they tell you something, now this just happened to our mom, go get a second opinion. If you don't believe that doctor,
Yeah.
if you're like, no, no, that can't be it, and go to a doctor. The week, like she just said, like for her eyesight, she said one doctor said, you have glaucoma.
Mhm.
And then she went to her regular doctor. And I don't know what made her go to a doctor that wasn't her regular doctor, but her regular doctor said, no, you don't have glaucoma. So you kind of makes you think, is this person wanting to make money off of you?
Mhm.
Or what's the real deal?
Yeah.
Get with somebody that you like, get with somebody that you feel good about. Like, in
Mhm.
other words, that you would trust. Okay. So that there, I think that the one we had actually, my husband and I we were in Dallas, best doctor we ever saw. And he took both of us. And at that time, Matt was in really good shape, but, he was, there are a few things that he was concerned about. And then, of course, me with my weight. This doctor, like, he was ready to spread some tough love. And he told it to us straight. He goes, you're overweight, you're obese, you're this, you're that, and this is
Mm.
why. Here's your panel. You need to get on it, blah, blah, blah. And I have never, ever had a doctor since who ever was that blatant with me.
Yeah.
That, like, you need to get it together.
Mhm.
Okay. And the Matt's the same way. He's like, I have never had a doctor like that. If we ever move back to Texas, it would only be because of that doctor.
Right. Mhm.
So, but that doctor was, I don't know if he's practicing still or not, but he was amazing. So, and then of course, health anxiety comes from feeling vulnerable and powerless.
Yep.
When you're sitting in a bed or laying in a bed or whatever you're doing, like waiting for a week for something to happen, that really makes you think about a lot of things. Like what's going to be next? What do I not come out of this? I have a 14, I have a child at home. How is dad and child going to be? How, that kind of thing. And things start running through your mind.
Yeah.
And not all of it positive. Okay. So, but one thing I did have, and my mom and I were talking about this because my mom had gone through this, like, what was it, 30 years ago? She's 70, be 79. She had it at 52. It's 27 years.
The triple bypass was 25.
25. Okay. So yeah, about 25 years ago. And mine was back in 2021. Because I just went through, this has been my 4th year since then. So yeah. And so she and I were talking about it, and I was like, Mom, I just have a feeling that everything's going to be okay. And I'm positive about it. And I know that I'm going to come through it. And she told me right then and there, she goes, that is half your battle, is being positive of what your outcome is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the anxiety get to you, but, pray, but feeling good about it and being positive that you're going to come out okay at the end and that you're going to be walking out of that hospital. She said, that is half your battle. The other half is getting yourself to walk right after the surgery, getting, all that kind of stuff, to make yourself good to where you can walk out of that hospital. She goes, that's going to be rough. And I remember when we were there for hers, her triple bypass, and that was rough to see because, when you see your mom laid out, in a hospital bed, and you're like, man, this is the strongest woman I've ever known.
Mm-hmm.
And to see her, it was almost like, being there with her vulnerability. But we all are like that when we come out of surgery, right? But the thing is, when she woke up and she saw me, she had a little clipboard it was a little chalkboard, okay? And she said, go home. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, she said, go home. She goes, I'll be resting, go home. Yes. So I did, because I had stayed the night before and I slept on 2 chairs, and so I did. I went home, but the fact that she got up or she woke up and was able to write that, like, because she was okay. And I know it was painful because to move, like, her triple bypass and my triple bypass were different. Like, anytime I even moved, it felt like I was pinned to the bed. So, and it was excruciating pain. And so I was like, so for her to actually sit there and write, and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did you do that? How did you do that? You guys, but I tell you what, being positive, having that positive outlook, if something is wrong, listen, believe that you're going to be okay. Believe it. Give it to Heavenly Father. If it's your will, and it is His will, I said, y'all, believe it. Believe it. And that's half your battle. That's half your battle. I feel like we've been all over the place today, guys. I know it's been an hour, but I just feel like we've been all over the place. Yeah. But here's we're about to wrap it up. So here's a faith-based perspectives on health anxiety. And it, just like, we're talking about this just a second ago. God is in control of our bodies and our future. We're stewards, not saviors of our own bodies. And we are stewards. And so when you talk about our bodies as temple, we're stewards of our bodies. And we're expected to maintain these bodies until He calls us home.
Yeah.
Replacing fear with trust, choosing to rest in God's protections and sovereignty. That's what I was just talking about. Give it to God, pray about it, but believe that you're going to get through it, you know?
Mhm.
What else we got here? Practical peace tools, deep breathing, devotionals, stepping away from health information overload. Yeah, like keep on, you guys. If y'all keep on and keep on googling those symptoms, let me tell you, you're gonna run yourselves into a grave.
Yeah, you're gonna have
You
everything.
are before it even. Yes, indeed. All right, so here we are at the end of our segment now, you guys. I decided I want to do something different today. So I'm not sure if any of y'all do journaling or y'all, do self-reflection or anything else like that. But I want to encourage you and I want to give you a couple of prompts to help you with that. And I'll put these down in the chat too, I think. Or you can look it up on the Facebook page and they'll be there. So let's talk about journaling and self-reflection prompts, your body image and self-worth prompts. And I'm only going to choose 2 of these because I don't want to overload you guys. Okay. Jamie, while I'm doing the body image and self-worth, do you want to pick 2 of the health anxiety prompts?
Yeah,
And
well, I
then
was
we
gonna
can
say
tell
whatever
me.
you pick, I'm gonna copy and paste into the chat.
Okay. So, what are 3 things I say to myself about my body that I would never say to a friend? That's big. That is a good one. How has comparison affected the way I see myself? Think social media, family, and past experiences. I think that's a good one. Maybe we'll add a third one to that one too, Jamie, because I think the last one is really good. What is one thing my body allows me to do that I am grateful for today?
Yes, that's a really
because
good one.
As we get older, now you can tell my mom this all day, she'll tell you nope. But when you're getting older, some of us may lose, the ability to do a few things, So that's why it's so important for us to, keep our, stretching and everything else going like that. It doesn't take much, y'all. It doesn't take much. All right. So, do you want me to come up with the 2 for the other one too, and you're just going to post it?
Well, that's fine too. Yeah.
I want you to tell me. I think you should come up with these.
For health anxiety or faith focused, which one?
No, the health anxiety ones. Because these are all good, y'all. But we don't want to overwhelm y'all. So we're just gonna 2 or 3 from each section.
When I feel anxious about my health, what does my body need in that moment? Truth, rest, prayer, or something else? I'm going to go there. Let me see. I'm going to post it. Let me see. One of these said, we're having trouble with your internet connection. What truth do I need to remember when my mind starts spiraling with what if thoughts? I like that one too, because there's nothing you can really do except pray about it and be, hope and be positive that it's nothing too crazy, like serious.
Yeah. Yeah. What do I need to remember when my mind starts spiraling with what if thoughts? But and then here's another thought for that too, is but you can't live in what if.
No.
You know what I mean? I mean, if you ask yourself what if, there could be 1,000 different ways to go on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but you can't live your life in what ifs. But I would go as still what if what helps you with that? What gets you out of that mentality? Okay. All right. So let's add one more, and we'll do this off the faith focused prompts. I do like the last one of that, which means, or what, this is the last question, you guys, is what does faith over fear mean in my life right now?
Mm-hmm.
And this is what this whole series has been about, faith over fear, okay, anxiety. So what does that mean in my life right now? And those are just a few prompts that you guys can go ahead and, write down. If you'd like for us to come up with more prompts, and we do have more prompts, to help you journal, like if, want a weekly or if you want a daily, let us know and we will definitely have those for you. But yeah, I think this segment has been really good. Again, if you guys haven't seen the rest of the series, go back and take a look. We do have, 4.1, 4.2, and in today's episode 4.3. Next week, we have our episode 4.4, which is career and work anxiety and financial stress and future worries. That is coming up for next week's episode. Yeah, so that may be, it is a good one. It may be a little bit shorter, but every time I say it's going to be shorter, here we are at an hour again.
Yeah.
So, but we have lots to say, you guys, and we want your input. So please contact us. Please let us know what you want to hear. Please let us know if this is working for you. So we really appreciate you all. Thank you for being with us today with Faith, Love, and Coffee. Jamie, do you have anything to say before I close this out?
No, I don't. I mean, everything. I love this whole series has been great. Next week's I'm really looking forward to, because I think a lot of people overwork themselves.
Yes. Now this one, you guys, we're going to have recorded. Jamie and I are going to get together this week to record this one, because she will be on a much deserved vacation on a cruise. So we're going to record that, and it will be available at 2:00 next Sunday, Eastern time. Yeah. So with that, you guys, I decided to shorten this a little bit too. So again, thank you for joining us. Keep faith, spread love, and savor every sip of life. Until the next time, take care and keep brewing positivity. Bye, you guys.
Bye, y'all.